Hello, fellow traders. 'Tis I, the Rumpled One. It is Thursday, October the 4th, the year 2018. Let's talk trading. Your only competition. Yesterday, I did the video, What's in Your Wallet? And then it's funny how when you put something out in the universe, how all of a sudden you find things or things come to you that may have meaning or relevance to what you're focused on. Or maybe you just see them because you're focused on them now. But I received an email today from one of the, um, I guess, bloggers that I subscribe to. And they had a quote. I guess it was I don't know if it was a Buddhist quote, but basically what they're saying is your only competition is you. In other words, don't worry about what I do, how I trade, how much money I make, or how many pips I make per trade or something, but focus on you. In other words, are you a better trader today than you were yesterday? Are you a better trader this week than you were last week? In other words, focus on just being a little better each time. And then over the course of, days, weeks, months, years, you'll see a huge improvement. And chances are when you see that, you're going to feel pretty good. But if you compare yourself to me and all the other thousands or hundreds of thousands or millions of traders out there in cyberspace that most of whom you've never met, and you read about their exploits and you have no idea if they're trading real money or if they're trading, demo accounts, um, you'll just feel so much better comparing yourself to a previous you, to the former you. And, this doesn't just apply in trading, it applies across the board in life. So, a lot of times people put out like the most important thing, the most important video, my best video, or all that kind of stuff. Um, so I hesitate to say it, but this might possibly be, maybe not the best um, advice or suggestion that I can make, but it's definitely, say, in the top 10, just quit focusing on all those other, people who make hundreds of pips per day or per week or whatever it is they claim they do. Doesn't matter to you. Once again, focus on your wallet, your portfolio, your style, your trade, etc. And just, keep track and see, are you better off? Are you a better trader this week than last week? And it might not mean you made more money this week than last week, but what it might mean is that you stuck to your plan better. You made less mistakes. You made less, airball trades, etc., etc. So just keep that in mind as you're trading, throughout the rest of the month. And then compare yourself at the end of the month to yourself at the beginning of the month and see where you improved. And maybe you didn't improve per se, you just didn't make any mistakes, or maybe you made a mistake and that's the area that you need to focus on. So let's start looking at the charts. And actually, one of the areas that hopefully you've mastered by now, but if you're just tuning in, money and risk management is definitely a biggie. And if you look at some of the quote unquote world famous traders, they always say that you have to master the money and risk management. If you can do that, then you have a chance of winning in the trading game. Because if you don't master this, you stand little to no chance. Okay, we can see here that for the euro yen monthly, we've exited the wick zone. Right now, we're 76 pips to the good outside of that upper wick zone. And you can see there was a potential that for a lot more pips there because we've moved 43 pips off the bottom. So once again, there was 100 pips so far this month, which basically is, been most of the week here. And right here, you can see on the weekly, we also had exited that wick zone. And now we're pulling back towards it here, 42 pips off the bottom, off that weekly low. Now, as far as the gaps, let me count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 gaps that haven't filled. And I am noticing something. They all but one seem to be CAD pairs. So something's going on with the Canadian dollar. Obviously, why we've got that gap. So that's just one way of analyzing things. You can see here, you got dollar CAD, the New Zealand CAD, the pound CAD, the Euro CAD, the CAD yen, and the CAD Swiss, and the Australian CAD. Something's going on with CAD. Maybe we'll just take a quick peek here at the dollar CAD and see what's going on. It's going to take a while to load up. There we go. Oh, big drop. Huge drop to the downside. You see we climbed 80 pips off the bottom too. Maybe we'll just sneak over here to the daily. Yeah, you can see that right there. So right there was a turn trade, if you guys, for those of you who've been following me. So turn trade on the daily, and you see here, there's a lot of pips to be made. Lots of pips to be made. So we will switch back over here. Whoops. Put it back on the Euro Yen. That's what we've been tracking. So you can see here we entered the wick zone, and it looks like we're going to come out of it to the north side. And you can see here we had a short, and out of the short zone, that should have been a profitable trade. A short here, that could have been a very highly profitable trade. Let's see. Entered that trade, you just kept going. Right here, it looks like is where you should have taken profit because it made a new low, but then reversed through that wick right there. So that would have been a profit. You would have missed out on how much? Let's just see. 11 pips. Does that really matter? I mean, let's see, what would you have made if you had taken that trade? 22 pips. Not bad. Here, you entered. Maybe you got stopped out. Maybe you scratched the trade. Here, you definitely should have scratched the trade when it pulled up and came back. Once again, here, you should have known after seeing those two. You just say, you know what? I don't think so. It already had moved about 20 pips. No reason to jump in that late. If anything, you might have just taken the crossover here at the daily open and picked up maybe a handful of pips. Once again, you had an opportunity to go short here. And you can see here, boom, boom, boom. It took out that daily pivot. Rat zone. Right now, a Larry live trade looking to go get into the rat zone. A long entry here. And we hit the pivot as we've shown. The monthly pivot, we'd already taken that out. Now, the weekly pivot, we already took that out. So basically, pivot's been taken out. Though we do have a missed pivot here. It's 132.01. It just barely missed it by about 5-6 pips. Actually, it said it missed it by 2 pips. Why did I say 5 or 6? Guess I looked at it wrong. Yeah, I looked at it wrong. Price action. Okay, a Larry live trade. You see here we got a 1 ball. So we're looking to go green at the line. See here we had a 2 ball, red at the line, proved to be a 20 pipper right there. And once again, horizontal lines trading with the candle color at the horizontal lines. You can see here the midpoint, previous midpoint, in this case the previous daily midpoint right here, a lot of action around that, and it looked like since it's not making newer highs, there's indication you might want to go short. You know, there's something else I read on a trader was saying how they don't use, what was it? They don't use lines. They don't do this. They have a moving average, and then they did something like TDI or something. And I got to thinking, but they've got this super duper complicated system, and you don't even, but everybody, or not everybody, but many traders flock and hang on this particular poster's traders every word. But it just goes to show, I mean, of course, he's got this secret indicator or indicator they won't tell you about. And it's just more of the hype. And it's just funny how many people are so susceptible to buy into that stuff. It really is funny. Just the nonsense that's out there. Who knows? Maybe they are a very successful trader. But just some of the things that I see are just amazing that they expect people to believe. But, a fool and their money are soon parted. Wick zone. In and out of the wick zone. I mean, look at that. It's a thing of beauty. We're back in. Do we go back out? Holo. See, we touched there just a few minutes ago. So Larry Live, you can jump in if you want to. You're about 4 or 5 pips away from that zone. Okay, you might get another opportunity. One thing I've learned, if you miss the boat, just wait, because more times than not, you'll be regretting it. You can always throw in maybe a partial position. If you really think you're going to get that, you can just throw in, a very small position. Once again, knowing where your stop is. But don't even have to put a full position on. That way, if it comes back in here and then starts to reverse, you can add on to that position. And let's see, we had some short triggers here. The long triggers are way up here, and as you can see, it punched through there for only about 1 pip and reversed. That should have been a scratch or small loss. And here you see these are the shorts. So you don't, even though this is a horizontal line, this is where you'd want to go short. You don't use this line, even though a green candle, you're not using this for a long entry, even though sometimes it plays out, but that's not the way to trade this particular method. And the previous daily, weekly, monthly, once again, at the line, you can see the result. And right here, I'd made a mistake. I said price was moving sideways. What I meant to say was it's just channeling in a very narrow channel. It's not really making any huge gains. And you look here, Einstein line, there was a short, there was another short. So remember, fellow traders, focus on what's in your wallet. Are you a better trader today than you were yesterday? Because it's not what you trade, it's how you trade it. Now let's go drain the banks.